Lesson 83, Solving Coin Problems. In the past, we've seen these variables with the subscripted letter, and we talked about how they represent something. And for these coin problems, they're going to represent the number of quarters, ND is the number of dimes, NN is the number of nickels, and NP is the number of pennies. So let's look at the first example. It says Anna has 28 coins that are nickels and dimes, and the total value is $1.95. What we want to know is how many coins of each type do we have. So in these kind of exercises, what we want to do is write a system of equation. And we're going to have one equation that is about value and another equation that is about quantity. Now let's start with the quantity. We have 28 coins, and we know they are nickels or dimes. So for nickels, we put NN, and then for dimes, we put ND. And we know that together, they add up to 28 coins. Now for the value, what we have to do is write the value of the coin. So nickels are 5 cents, so we put 5 NN. And for dimes are 10 cents, so we put 10 ND. And the $1.95, we have to write it in cents, so we're going to write 195 cents. All we have to do is multiply times 100. Now, in this case, we can do elimination or substitution. I like elimination better, so we're going to multiply here times -10. And remember, you have to multiply each one of them. So we write the first one on the top exactly the same, and then the one on the bottom with the -10 multiplied to each one of them. 28 times -10 is -280. Don't forget to do that one. Now remember, when we are eliminating, we add these two equations. 5NN minus 10NN is -5NN, and 10 minus 10 is 0. They cancel each other. If we subtract 195 minus 280, the answer is -85. Now to get rid of that -5, we have to pass it to divide. And if we divide -85 divided by -5, the answer is +17. So the number of nickels is 17. Now, since we're talking about coins, we have to have a positive number, and it has to be a whole number. We cannot have negatives, or we cannot have fractions or decimals, because we're talking about coins. Now, after we have the number of nickels, then we have to go back to the original equation of quantity and find the number of dimes. We know that the number of dimes plus the number of nickels is 28, so we have to pass the 17 to subtract. And if we subtract that, the number of dimes is 11. So there are 11 dimes and 17 nickels. In this second example, it says, Samuel has $4.45 in quarters and dimes. He has 8 more quarters than dimes. How many coins of each type does he have? So in this case, again, we have to write our systems of equations. And let's start in this case by writing the equation of value. So since we have quarters are 25 cents, we're going to put 25 NQ plus 10 cents, that is the value of each dime. And again, we multiply the $4.45 times 100, and we have 445 cents. Then for the one of quantity, notice that it says that we have 8 more quarters and dimes. When that happens, we have to start with the one we have the most. So we have more quarters and dimes. So NQ equals whatever the number of dimes is plus 8. Now, in this case, it is ready to do substitution. So what we're going to do is change that NQ for that ND plus 8 because they are the same thing. So we rewrite, but in this case, we put ND plus 8 plus 10 ND equals 445. Then we do distributive property, and we have 25 ND plus 200 plus 10 ND equals 445. Now we do like terms. 25 plus 10 is 35, and D. And the 200 goes to subtract, so we have 245 left on the right side. And if we pass the 35 to divide, then the answer is going to be 7. So we know there are 7 dimes. Now again, we go back to the original equation, and it says that NQ is ND, which is 7 plus 8. So NQ, or the number of quarters, is 15. So now we know that there were 15 quarters and 7 dimes. In this last example, it says Sarah had a jar with 22 nickels and dimes, and their total value is $1.35. Again, we have to write our equations, and we're going to start with the one of quantity. So the number of nickels plus the number of dimes is 22 coins. Then for the value, we have to add 5 cents times the number of nickels plus 10 cents times the number of dimes equals 135, because we multiplied times 100. And again, I'm going to choose to do elimination, so I'm going to multiply times negative 10. Remember to multiply the negative 10 times all of them. Then we rewrite negative 10 and n minus 10 and d equals negative 220. And the other one stays the same. Remember, we add, and when we add, we get negative 5 and n, then the nds cancel, and negative 220 plus 135 is negative 85. If we pass the negative 5 to divide, then we get positive 17. And that would be the number of nickels. Then we go to the original equation, and we know that ND is going to be then 22 minus 17, and that would be 5. And that's it. The number of dimes is 5, and the number of nickels, 17. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.